So while governors are brainstorming, the federal government hopes to raise as much as 6 trillion naira in non-oil revenue to fund the 2020 budget. However, there have been some concerns that states over-rely on the Federation account to fund their budgets. Now, there's some good news. This week, evidence from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, shows that the 36 states, including the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory, grew their internally generated revenue, IGR, by 19% in the first half of 2019 relative to the same period in 2018. What more can states do to keep growing revenue, and what are the insights from the recent IGR report? Well, to discuss this with me in the studio is Babajide Ogunsowo, Channel Television's data analyst. Good to have you on the program.
Good evening, Millicent.
All right. Now, let's look at recent reports from the Bureau of Statistics. States are improving their revenue growth. I mean, people are wondering, it's great news, but how are they doing it? What's the strategy that's working now?
You know, the best way to describe the internally generated revenue, another word we could call it is the state-generated revenue, is this. And I got this for you. It's a present.
Thank you.
But here's the problem with IGR. If I were to give you this, if this, for one reason, were a real Ferrari, and you took this to your vulcanizer, what will you ask him to put into one of those tires as the tire pressure?
Well, to balance it, 40, I think.
Good. Now, listen to me carefully. Will you still allow me to drive you home with this car if I told you one of those tires was 40, on the other one was 5? What if the back tire was 200 and on this side it had no tire? Will you still allow me to drive you home with this beautiful car in that condition?
Yeah, I'd be very worried.
That's the exact position with our IGR. What do I mean? Listen to this. The recent report shows that, yes, we generated 691 billion naira in the first 180 days of this year. But that is not what we should focus on. What should we focus on? The report shows, like I explained with these tires, 72% of that IGR was from states in the southern region of Nigeria, and only 28% were from states in the northern region. In other words, the IGR in the country is significantly unbalanced. Significantly unbalanced. Let me make myself very clear, Millicent. Within that same report, it shows that Lagos State, within the first half of this year, generated more IGR than all the 19 states in northern Nigeria. Clearly, this car is not balanced and nobody will want to get into this car. No investor will see such imbalance and will find this beautiful car attractive. That is the challenge we have today. Speaking about growth, oh yes, we've seen a 19% growth in IGR within the first 6 months of this year relative to the first 6 months of last year. So yes, we've seen that growth. But in real terms, inflation-adjusted terms, that's what I mean. That's only an 8% growth. So we want to see the states being more creative by attracting investments and opportunities that will promote them to generate more revenue.
So those who are doing good are doing better now. But what are they doing with the internally generated revenue? So
I think two things we should quickly look at. Let's look at those first, the states that have not really done well when we look at 2019's report relative to 2015, and they need to do better. And if you look at those bottom 5 states, in those bottom 5 states, you'll see Gombe State, you'll see Anambra, Enugu. But here's what's surprising. Ogun State, despite the huge economic opportunities in Ogun State, has seen a significant decline in its internally generated revenue in the first half of 2019, which it earned 30 billion naira, compared to the first half of 2018 when it earned 43 billion naira. So in Ogun State, we've seen the biggest decline, 13 billion naira short from what it collected in the first half of this year. And the report shows the reason why. Pay as you earn has seen significant reduction in collections. So the Ogun State government needs to look at that. Some have said maybe this is the time that the governor should also announce his commissioners to ensure that they look at the opportunities within those ministries to be able to drive progress. But we can't look at those bottom 5 without looking at the top 5. So if there's to be a gold medal, who should we give that gold medal to? And based on the NBS's own report, Nielsen Wiki, from their report, looking at the states that have generated the most, or they've grown the most IGR, we've seen that Rivers State grew IGR by 15 billion naira, Millicent. 15 billion naira more money came into the River State accounts in the first half of this year relative to the first half of last year. And that is because the state government is doing a lot to increase the internal generated revenue from direct assessment.
I must quickly ask you, when you look at your crystal ball, do you see accountability with Nigeria's taxpayers' money across the board?
If we're to quickly look at this, I see that the states need to be more accountable. And there are three things they need to quickly do to do that. The first is they need to publish that report that shows what are they using the money for, one. The second is they need to publish another report that shows who is collecting the money, which is who are those contractors collecting the money. And the third that they need to do to be able to promote accountability is to be able to ensure that they show how are these funds impacting lives in their states. Because clearly, the budget and the whole revenue is to be able to impact lives. So if we can get those states, or all the 36 states, including the FCT, to present these reports, then we'll see more accountability in the use of funds, and then they'll be able to attract funds. Right. But finally, let's not forget, at the end of the day, there has to be a balance in everything we do. And clearly, economic opportunities in the country now have to be rebalanced. And that's what the federal government should also aim for.
We appreciate your time on the news at 10.
Thanks. I hope you can keep this to also remember this discussion.
All right.